Now, every generation actually gets born in a period which is very different from the period. I remember what Rabindranath Tagore said, that you should not advise your child because he is not on the date when you were actually born. So it's almost like that. And when you look at the generations which we call as baby boomers, has more than 53% of the wealth of USA, and the millennials really have only about 4.6% of the wealth, which means that the new generations which have come from class of 2003, wherever they're studying, have not really, made as much money as in the previous generations. You can see that was about $33,000 for that period, what you are actually being born with. But when you go into the current period, you will see that it has become a minus net worth. We do not have a comparable study, really speaking, in India. However, it would presume that post 1947, the period in which after independence we are now into, a period in which after 1991, when there was economic liberalization, and now in the pandemic period, things have been reversed. A great deal of things have happened. So the class which is sitting before me, probably listening to this, is not in the same position as it was before. There is certainly a concern in terms of where this is going to lead to, and therefore the challenges before you are even more, because the world has changed dramatically, and the kind of money people made, for example, in the apparel exports in the 70s and 80s, they are still now nowhere near going to be making that kind of surplus. So this is just from, because there's a particular textile apparel field is something which I know quite well, and therefore I would say that those period has really gone by, and we will have to look at the new challenges. Now, I was, recently my book, Runway to Skilled India, got released, and therefore I was thinking about this word a lot more, and that word is actually run. And I happened to see a film on Netflix, which is called Autumn, which is in Malayalam, it means run. This is about a very interesting, story of two people, and it basically, without much ado, if you look at it, says that we have somebody ahead of us in certain situation who has taken away probably what you would have probably got if you were in the queue, and there is probably somebody behind you who got an opportunity because you did not take the opportunity which came your way. Whatever it is a continuous race of life which you are actually moving ahead with, and that is where we need to look at the future in a manner of speaking, that life is a race, and we cannot win the race unless you are prepared to see the chances which come your way. You are ready to take that opportunity, and you are able to mold it in the way you want it. The two statements which are put on the screen, which is Albert Einstein is telling that I never think of the future, it comes soon enough, means that actually you cannot do anything without imagining the future. The future almost arrives without warning. And it has happened in my leadership positions. I can say that unless I had foreseen a great deal of digitalization in my mind, we would not have set up the Design Vision Center in 2005, which the Honorable Rashtrapati Ji had inaugurated when I was the director of NID. And that required a great deal of forward thinking to do that, because I was trying to see the future and manage the future from the present. And most often, we should not be wasting our time, trying to foresee future, but we should be trying to enable the future by our own actions as we go forward. So when we look at, what the youth of today want, one of the things which probably you may have heard about it or you may not have heard about it, the Youth Declaration, which was made in 2017 in Abu Dhabi. I was present in Abu Dhabi. I was not a party to this particular discussion, but I knew that there are 300, youth from all across the world, including few Indians, were part of the group. And they discussed what do really youth want in the context of education, context of vocationalization, context of the technologies which are going forward, and try to reach at some of the thinking which they want to reflect in our thinking while we are forming courses and educational paradigms. First thing is think innovation. And one of the important things for you to understand is that thinking innovation is about a design attitude. A design attitude is not looking at constraints and thinking that you will be overawed by the constraints, but you are going to take every constraint as an opportunity to come out with something new. Most often, people think that in constraints, you have to actually be, taking a view that some solution has to be found. But a design thinking will say that no, it is not an ordinary solution, but you will come out with a creative solution which will completely change the way you look at that entire problem itself. So that is where I think this word is very critical. And similarly, the Industry 4.0, when you look at it, is changed the world around us. It is automation, it is robotics, it is about complete change of artificial intelligence playing a role in terms of where the entire processes are concerned, and even the 3D printing, for example, which is changing the way the manufacturing is being looked at. All that is to be considered while you are looking at future. Similarly, every aspect in the world is going to look at this aspect, especially since after the pandemic, people are considering a complete resetting of life. And that resetting is about more fundamental, understanding of living in a different manner. And probably that is where, this issue of think green becomes very relevant. And entrepreneurship, it was an earlier question, people were seeking jobs. But today you can see there is an explosion of, funds actually running after the entrepreneurs in India. Every day, I am told in this week alone, where I am speaking to you, 6 new unicorns have come up in India. That means that the kind of activities which are taking place in India shows the way forward in terms of the youth absorbing the opportunities of creating enterprises which can change the world. Similarly, global citizenship. Nobody can think that we are isolated from the global context, and that is where we need to become, like for example, the new platform of the World Economic Forum, where they are talking about reskilling revolution platform. We need to be part of it, because we cannot now think about our youth of about 350 to 450 million people in the age group of 15 to 24 to be isolated from the global changes which you are seeing. And that is where I always like this quote from Alice in Wonderland: you must run as fast as you can to stay even where you are. Some truisms which I am almost like a fossil in terms of age. So when I refer to a book like 1970s book of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, Richard Bach, who is an American author, it will probably, you may not even remember, because all of you must be born after 2000 or end of 1990s. But this book, really speaking, tells you a lot of things about how you have to look at life, which I probably did not understand when I read it, I think, for the first time when I was in MBA in 1975. But as I read it now, after 12 years dabbling with the skill revolution in the country, I know that this particular aspect of pursuing a particular skill to its limit is something which, our people in the country, if the youth absorb that particular approach, India can be a different place. And my belief is that you should not really care about what people are telling you. You should follow your own heart and listen to your heart and believe in yourself. And there are no mistakes. The events we bring upon ourselves, no matter how unpleasant, are necessary in order to learn what we need to learn. Whatever steps we take, they are necessary to reach the places we have chosen to go. I want to tell you, I have read recently, if whatever you are doing is succeeding, then you must pause and think that you are not probably taking enough risk in life. But if you are failing in some 10 to 20% and 80% things are going your way in successfully, you are a much better person taking sufficient risk in life. So just be not complacent with all the successes you earn. Probably you are not taking risk by which you could have actually attained more. Now, always people think, why should I reach the top? And everybody should have the dream to reach the top, because the gull sees the farthest who flies the highest. Unless you had reached that position, you will not realize that, when Baiju Ravindran or, Kunal Shah or, the entrepreneurs you see around today sit there, they are allocating resources. These things you can do only when you have actually set the pace and you are at the top. So that is where probably it is important to look at the entrepreneurial opportunities which are coming your way. And, the Rashtrapati ji had told very clearly that dreams are not those which come when you are sleeping, but dreams are those when you don't sleep before fulfilling them. I really love this. And when he came as our 25th convocation speaker at NID, I had occasion to spend more or less a half day with him. And the amazing man he is, these things he really cared about Indian youth to really achieve these positions. And I used to open my the semester opening addresses by telling Thomas Edison's one line: genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. And actually, I feel 99% is perspiration and imagination, and 1% is luck. And you need to really go forward and put this hard work to achieve, But remember, you must try to carry your own ladder. Pulling down somebody who's sitting in your ladder and achieving success may not give you as much pleasure as carrying your own ladder, like what Oyo Rooms did, or Baiju Ravindran did, or what Kunal Shai is doing with Credo, and the hundreds of examples around us which are very inspirational. Now, choices are what you should be very careful when you are making them. And when I read Albert Camus, when I was studying in University College, one of the things which later I read his quote, life is a sum of all your choices. And when you look at it, if you have taken some choices, and that is what led you to what you are. And Robert Frost's, this poem is well known, and you are actually looking at, a fork where you have to take the less road traveled by probably will make you see a different kind of experience in life. If you look at my life coming from a fairly lower middle class family, nobody could have imagined that I would be sitting in National Institute of Fashion Technology in Delhi as a founding faculty member and heading fashion management, or later becoming the director of India's iconic institute like the National Institute of Design, because my life had nothing to do. You had actually your circumstances or past do not define what you are going to be. And that is where I would strongly emphasize that you need not be apologetic. And you can take a different path and achieve what you want, so that you don't have regrets. You will have results and rights when you end the life. The skills for life is about, achieving that what I started by telling you. You have to push yourself hard to achieve what you want to achieve. If you do not pursue excellence, very hot pursuit of excellence, and there is a great amount of emotional intelligence and intelligence quotient, both are required. And then you acquire the skills so that the opportunities, when they come your way, you are able to actually use them. And this study of, Harvard, Business School, nobody knows whether there is a real study like that, but it has been quoted in this book, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School, where they say that if you had written down goals, 3% only had written down goals. And they had actually ended up getting more than 10 times the earnings of the people, 97 rest of the people put together. And that too, you can see that, some of the 13% had goals but not written down, and 84% had no goals at all. So certainly there is a need for you as youth who are listening to this presentation to set your goals well ahead in life, because then you will know how to future-proof your life and you achieve where you are. And the very fact that I went for MBA was that in case I write IAS and do not get it, still I must reach somewhere in life. So I had planned it in such a manner that I will certainly attempt sometime the Indian Administrative Service, which I did not do subsequently. But I wanted to do the option. You must always have a fair idea about where you want to reach and how you want to live your life. A purposeful life is important. And just as the year keeps you a kind of the liquid inside keeps you steady and you are able to stand, you must have this purpose guiding you. Otherwise, you will find it that life is directionless, and without purpose and without goals, life will be a waste. Now, I would like everybody to look at an orientation of your skills. Most people do not look at the orientation of what you want to achieve, how you want to be developed. If you are just going deep dive into one level of an I-type skill, you are not really looking at the kind of empathy for interpersonal relationship or the other subject area which you want to acquire, like creativity or functional enterprise. These can only come through by defining that, as IDEO's Tim Brown used to say, that you must try to develop as a T-shaped individual, or an M, where you have two different types of capabilities and you are making a combination of the two in the middle, or an E, where you are exploring, or you have expertise, or you have ability to execute. Those kind of people are very different. Or a Pi, where both are two different types of skills, but you're connecting it in such a manner that you are able to give a great value addition to the work which you do. Or managerial people like X, trying to reach out to the stakeholders, the government, the policymakers, the employees, the board of directors, your shareholders, whatever. So this kind of an understanding will help you what kind of a person you want to emerge as in your life. And one of the books which has influenced me from the very beginning, from the Black Swan to the Antifragile, it has been, Antifragile is an antidote to Black Swan. Right now with the pandemic, we have seen what a black swan event can do. And that is where you are shaken. But if you move from being fragile to becoming robust and resilient, to becoming anti-fragile, where you are, every setback makes you improve and fight back and come out with even with better, better values and better credentials or better abilities, better capacities. That is when you become anti-fragile. So if you want to really become future-proofing your future, then you are looking at moving away from a fragile personality or a fragile individual or a fragile organization to become a robust organization. But robustness does not help you enough, because robustness only means that you are deflecting it away and you are not really changing yourself. But in the case of anti-fragile, you are actually absorbing the attacks which are come around you, the chaos, the various events which take place, and you acquire newer strengths to fight back, and that becomes anti-fragile. So the new words which are going to be, looking at, or the world which is emerging before us, are looking at really new skills. And the World Economic Forum's report analyzes skills, and I urge you to look through these reports when you get time online. But there is one area of creativity, originality, and initiative which are mentioned among the top skills. And I would say that, creativity with skills is the combination which will lead you to completely discovering new ideas and new results for every problem that comes in your way. And that is something which you need to remember as you look at future. Now, in the recent couple of books which I have done in this pandemic period, have really, opened my own minds as to what are the possibilities. One I wrote was, just in the initial days of the pandemic, first 60 to 90 days, when I wrote Note by Design. There I have dealt with in terms of, the opportunities which are coming your way need to be seen with a new lens which you can carry. That is why, everything which is going to happen in your life is not by design. It is by not being by design, you have an opportunity to react and shape the way you want that particular period. And many of the things which you have seen, the digital acceleration, the kind of companies which are spawning in India are all a result of the last 1 year, are all a result of the huge acceleration the digital learning has got in India. Similarly, the reskilling, upskilling, new skilling approach. And continuously your life is now challenged, and you need to relearn, unlearn, and new learn, and also reskill, upskill, and new skill, so that you are able to withstand the challenges around you, which is being thrown at you with the rapidly changing exponential technologies, health anxieties, the challenges of artificial intelligence, and the world itself changing into a new paradigm. Now, the inflection point we have arrived, and this is a period in which you need to learn to collaborate and cooperate. Without a co-opting kind of mentality and without a collaborating approach, you will not be able to succeed in the world which we are living in, because the people may be dispersed, people may be sitting at different places, they are collaborating to achieve a single goal. As we have seen, you are having a TED on a virtual platform, and many people are listening from different parts of the world, and you can then collaborate in the new digital world which we are going to more and more confront, with agility, with more understanding of empathy and understanding of the persons around you. And you need to really get prepared for this new work order, new world order, and new normal which is around us. Now the world in India is right for the people to grab the opportunities. It's a huge market, 1.3 billion people, about 450 million people being young, and we have a great demographic dividend going up to 2050, 2055. There is a great opportunity unlike any other country in the world. Though we are passing through very tough times, I believe what you can see, the kind of markets emerging around you in Delhi NCR, in Bangalore, in Mumbai, in Hyderabad, we have a huge explosion of startups happening, and every day new unicorn is born. And I urge you that people like us of that generations which I showed you to begin with, who are on already plus net worth, and you probably start with a minus net worth, can actually turn it around to creating huge wealth for the country and yourself. And therefore, I would end by telling the new mantras for the new normal, that your capability to unlearn, your capability to relearn, and your capability to new learn, along with reskilling, upskilling, and new skilling, will keep you completely future-proof, because you are then ready for lifelong learning, and you are going to learn to earn, and from that earning, you are also continuously learning so that you are up with the times and you are able to exploit and explore the opportunities which come your way. As I conclude, I would like to thank you with a positive, with a optimistic and a determined approach to pursue your goals and dream big, and achieve them with your hard work and skills. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.